was awkward. I'm trying to practice to play music with the conch, and that was my first attempt on stage. And somebody told me that this was the graveyard shift right after lunch. Yeah. So I thought this might come in handy. But I was not always this adventurous. In 1990, I was in 11th standard, preparing for my half-yearly exams. And chemistry was a subject that I was not very fond of. So what I usually used to do was, find any reason to not study chemistry. So when the exam day came, I was very nervous. And as I was riding my bicycle to school, I stopped at a place where there were not a lot of people. I opened my school bag, took out the compass from my geometry box, and punctured one of my cycle tires. And I went back home to my parents and I told them that, there's a problem with the cycle, I couldn't make it to the exam on time. Okay? Now, I've had several what I would call as cycle puncture moments in my life since then. Okay? But all that changed about 4 years back when I consciously made a decision to actually get out of my comfort zone and go after opportunities, embrace opportunities that were outside my comfort zone. Because you see, what had happened was I was staying so long in my comfort zone, instead of bringing me comfort, it brought me boredom, lethargy, discomfort, and it was basically sucking the life out of me. So I was very desperate to make the change. The change was not very easy, and in many ways it's still ongoing, but it has been very, very rewarding. I have, from shying away from opportunities that were outside my comfort zone, now I embrace opportunity that could be really far away from my comfort zone. Yeah? It has made me much more prepared to seize opportunity. It has made me more productive, more creative. I have had a lot of lessons along the way, but I am much more wiser, if I say so myself. So what I'm going to share with you today are, and I've gone about this change process, I've done so many experiments, I'm an engineer by training, so I always take things apart to see how things work. So I've done a lot of experiments, a lot of trial and error, but what I'm going to share with you in the next few minutes are 3 things which I believe are fundamental to sustaining this kind of a change process. When you want to get comfortable with the uncomfortable, right? When you want to get comfortable when you're in a situation which is not necessarily, it's very uncomfortable for you. How do we go about that? So I'm going to share with you these 3 steps, and I have a feeling that if you follow these 3 steps, it will work for most of you. Okay? So here we go. The first step is what I call as be aware. I learned that our body, the physiological reactions in our body are amazingly predictable. So when I walked up on stage today and they were introducing me, I had the butterflies in my stomach. I was rehearsing sort of feverishly 5 minutes ago in the room next door because I was getting very nervous. Yeah? So the first thing is to understand that you are actually getting into an uncomfortable situation, because if you don't even know that you're getting into an uncomfortable situation, there's no way you can actually change it. Okay? So the first step is taking your attention to your body, and typically you will see a lot of signs in your body that it's telling you that something is going on, something is wrong, right? There's the butterflies in the stomach, the throat is going dry, or you can hear your heart beating, whatever. Yeah. So that is the first step. The second is accepting the fact that that is going on. Yeah, and this is actually a major insight for me, right? Because you don't, yeah, this is going on, but you can panic, or you can sort of blame yourself, or you can say this is some personal flaw that I have, and why me and why not anybody else, right? So the second thing is to accept that this is going on, and acceptance can come from a very deep understanding of why this is happening. Yeah, and it turns out this mechanism, this physiological reaction that you're having, has actually helped you, yeah, in your survival. So think about a situation when you're sort of hunting in the forest a long time ago, going about your business, and then there's this big tiger that jumps out at you, right, ready to pounce on you. Are you going to be sitting and strategizing what to do next? Of course not, right? You're going to run for your life. If you don't, you're going to become the tiger's lunch. So the same physiological mechanism that made you run away from the tiger is kicking in when I'm walking up on stage, or when you are answering that nasty email from someone, or the phone call, the difficult conversation that you're having with somebody, or the exam that you're taking. It's the same physiological reaction, and it is common with everybody. How many of us here have a fear of being on stage? Show of hands. Yeah, a lot of us. Yeah, and I realize some of us actually are afraid to admit that we are afraid to be on stage. Yeah, so a lot of us have this, and for some of us it's being on stage, for some of us it's being off stage, for some of us it's meeting people, for some of us it's not meeting people, and so on and so forth, but the same mechanism exists. So that's the second step, accept. And the third one is what I would call as make the shift. You got to shift your default physiological reaction to another one so that it will give you the comfort in a seemingly uncomfortable situation. Yeah? Now I've tried a lot of techniques that are very similar to this. Basically telling myself to calm down, that sort of thing, miserably failed. Yeah? And then I came across, by accident, I came across this technique called the Sudharshan Kriya from the Art of Living. It's basically a rhythmic breathing technique. As soon as I actually started practicing, I saw profound benefits in the way I reacted to stress in the environment. And as I practiced more, what I realized was there was a whole science of the breath that I was not even aware of, that has been around for thousands of years in this country. So I'm going to share some of those findings. So being an engineer, what I did was, all this is great, but I got to really know the mechanics of this. How does this thing actually work? Yeah. So there's two parts to the nervous system. You must have studied this in biology class. One is the sympathetic nervous system. The other one is the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is kicks in when you inhale. With every in-breath, the sympathetic nervous system kicks in, and it actually increases your heart rate slightly. When you exhale, the parasympathetic nervous system, which is kind of like the brake, kicks in, and it slows down your heart rate very slightly. So when you go to the doctor and the doctor tells you, your heart rate is 80 beats per minute, that's just the average, the mean, okay? But if you actually plot it across time, there are differences between your higher and lower heart rate if you go through a heart rate cycle, which leads us to this concept called the heart rate variability. That is, so this is a chart of a heart rate that is, so this is the heart rate on the y-axis, and then you have across time. As you can see, there is variations, okay? Now what you see is there's also a pattern to the variation, okay? On the left-hand side, you have what is known as an incoherent pattern. It's a very random pattern. You can't see how the thing is going, okay? And that's similar to you applying the accelerator and brake at the very same time. Imagine if you're driving a car and you're applying the accelerator and brake at the same time. You'd be a very jerky driver. And that's what's going on in your physiology when you're, under stress. Yeah? The pattern on your right is a more orderly pattern. Yeah? It's called a coherent pattern. And this is like applying your brake and your accelerator independently. So you apply the accelerator first, then you let go, apply the brake, back to the accelerator. So it goes on like that. Yeah? It's a nice sine curve. So getting comfortable with being uncomfortable is all about shifting from the pattern on the left to shifting to the pattern on the right from a physiological standpoint. Yeah? Now the question is, how do we do that? And by the way, I did some measurements using a device that I'll show you shortly. So this is me driving on OMR, on rush hour traffic. Yeah? And that is probably the Sholinganallur signal. You know, those of you not from Chennai, it's probably one of the worst signals in Chennai. You stand there for like 25 minutes waiting for the signal to clear. Yeah? And that's, my heart is going at almost 120. Yeah? This is me doing Sudharshan Kriya, and you can see the difference. Yeah? So how do we do this? Now for that I'm going to actually do a demo, and we have a brave volunteer here, Rahul. So let's give a big hand to Rahul. Please be seated. So I have a device here which is what is called as, it's a heart rate variability monitor. It's from a company called M-Wave. It's the name of the product is called M-Wave. It's from a company called the HeartMath Institute. And it basically measures your heart rate over time and sort of tells you what is your variability like. Yeah? Can you come closer? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I want you to wear this. So this is the ear clip. It has a sensor. It basically, you know, senses your blood flow and then computes, you know, what is your heart rate. Is that okay? Yeah. Yeah? Okay. So we're going to get started. We're going to actually do a live session. Let's see how it goes. Okay. So I'm going to start this off. And it's calibrating. Are you nervous? Kind of nervous. Yeah. So you're brave enough to admit that. So we've got a pulse now. I'm sorry. I think you can see this. So, you know, look at the graph on the top, left-hand corner of the screen. So he's doing almost 100 beats per minute right now. Okay. So, you know, you can understand that he's nervous. Yeah. And I forgot to tell you, you know, you might get a slight electric shock sometime. Oh, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So it just went up. Yeah. Yeah, just kidding. Don't worry. Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, of course he's not nervous. Now, what I want you to do, and I want everybody to join. Yeah, because you know, you can just join him and encourage him, right? I want you to really breathe differently. Yeah, easy to do. Yeah. So I want you to breathe in this pattern. As the ball goes up, you breathe in. As the ball comes down, you breathe out. Everybody. As the ball goes up, breathe in. And as the ball comes down, breathe out. Nice and easy. Yeah, just keep watching. Yeah. So just keep doing that. Yeah. You can take your attention, keep doing that. You can take your attention to your heart region. And this is called the quick coherence technique. And this is from the HeartMath Institute. So it can actually improve your variability and your performance. Keep doing it. You can also think about a pleasant feeling, you know. Think about someone, you know. Now I'm afraid of doing that because you might actually go to sleep. But you know, you can think about someone that you are very fond of. You know, maybe like your girlfriend, you know, or your husband or wife. You know, maybe that's not going to work for some people, but you know, not me because my wife is sitting right here. So you know. So I just want to mention that. So something, you know, that makes you very joyful, yeah? But keep breathing. Can you keep breathing? Yeah, of course, in this pattern. So you can see he has 137 heart rate, yeah? Average heart rate. Don't worry about that, yeah? Just keep breathing. Breathe in. Don't hold your breath. It's going to actually make you more stressful, okay? Just gentle and nice and easy, even breath in and out. Is the pace okay for you? Too slow, you mean? Yeah. Too slow, okay. Well, bit slow. So we're going to make it a little bit faster. So hopefully that will make things better. We'll see. Is this okay? Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. my pressure is going up because the time is going down there. Okay, so breathe in. All right, we're getting into medium coherence, which is blue. Yeah, we got to get you into high coherence, which is the green pattern. You don't have to worry about it. I have to worry about it. Okay, okay. I know you're not worrying about it. Just breathe in. Everybody, join, please. Breathe in. No, don't look there. Look here. And breathe out. All right, we're back in. Oh. Okay. Thank you very much. I think we are running out of time. Let's, yeah, please remove, yeah. Yeah. So you can sit down. Yeah, you can just sit down. I'm going to show you. So these are his stats. Yeah. So this did not work as I had planned. Okay. This was, you're supposed to go into green after maybe a minute or so, and that does happen. Maybe if I allow you, maybe you and me go to the next room and do it. Probably you will do this better. Yeah. Okay. So same thing with you guys, right? If you actually practice this, you might have noticed maybe a subtle shift in the way you felt about it. Maybe didn't put you to sleep. Other than that, yeah. So I want to go back to my presentation, the last 30 seconds. Okay, so essentially, what I've realized is that there is a lot of science behind the breath that we are yet to understand, frankly, right? And if you have to really think about performance, if you have to think about doing better design, if you have to think about making better movies, or think about really creative ways of doing things, it's about increasing your performance at an individual level, right? And the way to do that, one of the ways to do that, especially when you are uncomfortable, right, is to use the power of the breath to make that shift from the default physiological reaction, which is all over the place, to the sort of the calm and composed reaction, so that you can perform on stage. Yeah. And I've realized that life is like a conveyor belt. Yeah. Whether you like it or not, whether you want it or not, it's going to push you out of your comfort zone. Yeah. So you can make a choice to actually voluntarily do that, or let life push you out, yeah, out of your comfort zone. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable starting from right now. That's all I have. Thank you very much.